Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. Learn why software boosts your trading to the next level. My name is Nenad, and Chris is with me, and he will do his part after I finish with this presentation. So today, we won't be showing you any PPTs. We will be straight to the point, and we will cut into the chase. So you will actually see how software that is integrated into MT4 can actually boost your trading to the next level. So this webinar is especially good and useful for people who are new to trading, who are actually new to use MT4 and the indicators that are integrated into MT4 platform. So before I begin our standard risk disclaimer explaining that online education materials are developed by Admiral Markets Estonia for a global audience, so take into consideration that information in this session is not suitable for everyone. If you want to get the corresponding information on charting conditions and any other detail, you should visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact an appropriate entity. And final part explaining that the risk disclosure statement, it explains all possible risks associated with Forex market, and with accepting it, you're also proceeding further with us. So here, these are our contacts. So for any information, guys, do not hesitate to contact us. So let's start. Here first, we will talk about integrated tools that are integrated into MT4 by default, and then I will explain some of these indicators that you might have not seen so far from Admiral Markets, and those are indicators also standard indicators of Admiral Market Supreme Edition. Okay, so one of the great tools that is integrated into new iterations of MT4 is actually, you can find it here. It's called auto trading. When you have an expert advisor, but it doesn't work, I mean, probably you know that so far, but if you're a new trader, this is a slight explanation why your expert advisor might not work. You need actually to click this button. So I have heard a lot of people asking me, Nenad, can you please tell us why we cannot start our expert advisor? So I remember that even a trader who trades long time on MT4, he forgot actually to press this button. I mean, this is not your mistake, or this is not anything, nothing serious can happen, except that your expert advisor will not work if you don't press auto trading. Now, a good thing is that it supports every sort of expert advisors and even range points and Renko charts. So if you have a range bar script or Renko bar script, be sure to click on auto trading before you actually load your template, because Renko usually and range bars usually take the information from offline charts, except if you actually use our Renko indicator that is integrated into Admiral Market Supreme Edition. But we will, of course, talk about it. So that is about auto trading. Another useful feature here is actually this feature has been the long time feature of MT4, is that you can actually insert different lines, vertical lines, horizontal, and trend lines. These lines you can also find here. Now this is what I use. So for example, if I click here and I go like this, I don't want long trend lines. So most of my trend lines are not rayed out. So a slight tip and trick for you who also don't want to have long trend lines, you just need to unclick this, because by default your trend line will look like this. That's by default. Also, if you click here and go to trend line properties, if you unray this, your trend line will look much better. Why it's important? Because sometimes if you let those unrayed trend lines, if you have multiple instances of trend lines on your charts, it can be a bit cluttered on your screen. So that is why I prefer to use shorter versions of these trend lines. So just be sure that you actually unrate, and here you can actually change the color, change you can actually make it thinner like this. You can add things like this, but I know that a lot of traders simply don't know how they can make their trend lines shorter. Okay, so that is also one of the good things. Also, one thing is to add important Fibonacci numbers. Now guys, Fibonacci, you know that both Chris and I are a fan of Fibonacci, but very often you will see that Fibonacci ratios simply they won't show levels. Okay, so if you do this, and if you do this trick that I will show you, actually you will be able to add levels to your system. So you just need to, I will show you guys. So you just need to go here, okay, press Fibo properties. So right click on Fibonacci indicator, then left click on Fibo properties, and here actually you will see this, okay, percent and dollar. So if you do it like this, 1, 2, 3, 3 spaces, then percent and dollar, okay, here we can also do that. 1, 2, 3, here. Same thing. Actually, it's much easier for you to do it as I do. So control, copy, here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is going smoothly like this, and so on. So actually by doing this you will be able to see these levels. Okay, just do that for every Fibonacci ratio you might see on your screen. So this is, and this actually will help you in your trading, because it will be easier for you to read exact levels on Fibonacci. So this is what I do, and you probably notice that every time I post something, there is Fibonacci ratios, and also you can see the exact level of Fibonacci ratio. Also, what is important, for example, here on this chart, is that I always have 78.6 and 88.6. I'm a big fan of both 78 and 88.6 Fibonacci, because I think that deeper retracement is in fact one of the most important parts for trading price action. For example, if you read the analysis today, I said that pound dollar probably will be rejected, and after the analysis pound dollar dropped like I don't know, close to 100 pips, I think. So the point is these 78 and 88.6 ratios will definitely make you a more profitable trader if you know how to use it properly. I use it all the time, and I never have any chart without 78 or 88.6. Simply said, those are deeper retracement levels, and price tends to respect it. You will usually find a lot of confluence around these levels, and I say usually because most of the time you will see that price respects, as you can see here. It really respects, even if there is some fake out or stop grab. This is a stop grab. You see that actually it respects 88.6 by a huge percent. So for me, 88.6 is the most important Fibonacci ratio. So that is how I do it with these integrated tools. More or less everything is the same, except for, let's say that you have Heiken-Ashi. I will show you now what you can do with Heiken-Ashi, and how you can actually place Heiken-Ashi without any line on your chart. So if you have Heiken-Ashi indicator, you just need to put it on your chart, and then if you do it like this, as I did here, okay, I will share the screen now. So here, this is Heiken-Ashi, but you see it doesn't look pretty because colors are a bit mixed, and we have some overlaid colors, so I don't like how it looks at this point. So what I usually do is I go here, click line chart, and then if I go here at properties, on line graph, I will press none. You see? So press OK, and here you will have clean Heikin-Ashi charts. So I know that some of you asked me also in the past, can we remove the line or can we make these Heikin-Ashi charts a little bit prettier if possible? And I promise that I will actually, I will do in one of our next webinars. I will show you how you can do that. So yeah, this is how you can actually do it. Now we will also talk about important indicators that are essential part of MT4 Supreme Edition. So before I delve deeper, I will say just that these tools are available for Admiral Markets users, okay, who use Admiral Markets Supreme Edition, and for all people who want to use it, they can do that on demo account, but they will be restricted to 30-day period. And I will also use this occasion, guys, to welcome you on Zero to Hero project. This is a very good course, and you can, if you're a beginner trader, you can learn to trade in 21 days. We covered it with most important information, so be sure to sign up. Okay, and here let's get back to our webinar. At this point here you can actually see the most simplistic indicators for Admiral Market Supreme Edition, and those simple indicators but useful. Usually I am fond of correlation matrix, so that is what I'm fond of, but you will usually use most of these, especially if you like to have the help of different indicators. So you will see Connect, that is also one of trademarks. If you go to Connect, actually you will get screen like this. So here you can actually make deposit withdrawals, you can do trade analysis, you can actually do your own trade analysis, you can go to calendar, you can go with news, but it will take the whole window. So if you actually want to go to and use other window, here let's say whatever pair you want to trade, you can actually have the benefits of correlation matrix. I already explained correlation matrix, so I won't be going deeper into correlation matrix, except that you should be able to use it as a potential cue for next movement of price. So let's say that we see that at this point, let's say SP 500 is going up, or some index, and we know that there is positive correlation between pound yen or Australian dollar yen and equities. What it means that, let's use for example Australian dollar yen, okay? Here you can see that actually Australian dollar yen is going up at this point. Now if you see that equities are moving up, okay, because correlation matrix is telling you that there is a positive correlation between equities and Australian dollar yen. Most of the time you will see very, very positive correlation, okay. For example, Japanese 225, the trademark of Asia session, see, and you see that, let's say Nikkei is going up and you want to trade Australian dollar yen. Just pay attention, once Nikkei starts to go up, you can usually find a long signal on Australian dollar yen, and you will be able to long or yen just based on this correlation matrix. So this is a very, very, very useful feature, and I really advise you guys to use it because it might help you in your trading decisions. And I know it's useful because I've been using it. So I personally can testify that this is one of the best, and for me this is essential tool, especially if you trade equities and forex market together. So you will reap the benefits of correlation matrix. Another thing that I maybe didn't cover in the past, and it's also useful, it's called sentiment trader. So if you click on sentiment trader, you will actually see this kind of chart. This is a mini chart, so it will not take the big portion and big part of your screen. But what is very useful about this feature is that you can actually change through different time frames and see the current sentiment of traders. So let's say that this is just a trick for you, a tip for you. Let's say that you want to scan through 3 different time frames, namely 4-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame, and 15-minute time frame. So you go, let's say you want to see that on pound dollar. So we go on pound dollar sentiment trader and we click here. So we will change this to, because it doesn't use 4-hour, we will use 1 hour, 15 minute, and 5 minute. So let's leave it on 1 hour, okay? So 1 hour. 1 hour, it says pound dollar is up. If you click 15 minute, it says also up. So you can, 15 minute, not 10, okay? So 15 minute is also up. Then you can go to 5 minute and see if it's short. If it says short, then usually you will be able to find entries for long pound dollar. What is the logic of this? Okay, the logic is this. If the sentiment on 1 hour is to the long side, okay, this is now sentiment trader. This is not what your chart's telling you, okay? I'm strictly, guys, talking about sentiment trader now. So 1 hour is long, okay. 15 minutes is, you see, it's short on your chart, but the sentiment here is also long, right? Then you can actually find entries on 5-minute time frames, because 5-minute time frames will give you potentially long entries. Let's go on 5 minutes and see this. Okay, so watch this. Potential long entry could have been found here. So you need to use that multiple time frame approach, and it will be very, I mean, I really prefer to trade with multiple time frame approach. Today I did a trade with pound yen. You can check it on my Twitter. I recorded it, and also pound dollar with Camarilla MACD. You can read the analysis. But Camarilla MACD is also multiple time frame approach, because I was watching trend on 4-hour time frame and I gave you the analysis on 1 hour. And general pound is bearish on every single time frame. So sentiment trader can actually help you find sentiment on multiple time frames. Let's, for example, use dollar CAD. I mean, you can use whatever, guys, you want to. I mean, this is very okay here. Dollar CAD. So 1 hour is also, okay, this is pound. This is pound dollar. Yeah, we need dollar CAD. So we need to have the chart on dollar CAD. Then we click OK. And here you see 34% is long. So it means that dollar CAD is short, right? So 1 hour time frame says it's long, but actually sentiment is short. So you need to drop down to 15-minute time frame, and here you see it's still long. And where you will find entries for shorts, we need to go on 5-minute time frame. You see this is going up, and we need to see when it starts to reject. Once it starts to reject, we can try to find entries. But have in mind, guys, that you need to watch other signs, other Confluence parts. So for other Confluence parts, I recommend Admiral Market's pivot point. Admiral Market pivot point can be also found in Admiral Markets indicators, guys. That's very important. Here, pivot point. For 1 hour trading, you can actually use hourly pivot points. So if dollar CAD sentiment is short, then you go to 5-minute time frame, for example here, and watch if the price starts to reject from R3 using maybe additional entry filter. I'm giving you the idea now. You can actually try to go with sentiment indicator, okay, with Admiral sentiment indicator. Okay, so this is just an idea how you can maybe write down your own trading system and see how it goes with trading. So sentiment trader indicator is good for that feature. So once more, H1, you see, sentiment now is 36% long, so it's still short. It's still, you see, up on 1 hour time frame. 15-minute time frame still up. So we need to find entries on 5-minute. We open 5-minute, watch this. We can also watch it on 1 hour, but I prefer shorter time frames always, and see if it starts to reject, the chances that it might actually go down. So watch for this because it can be very, very good feature maybe for some of your future systems. Pivot point indicator is also one of the great indicators because it gives you the possibility to scalp on 5-minute time frames using 1 hour pivots. My idea has always been, and I have the system I presented you, it's called double MACD scalping. I presented it also on the Hungarian webinar on IB days in Frankfurt, and it's my trademark. I've been receiving great praise for that scalping system, and I already did a presentation with Admiral Markets, so you probably know what I'm talking about. But at this point, it's important to say that it uses the approach that I like, and that's using 1 hour pivot points on 5-minute time frames. So if you take, for example, here hourly chart and actually hourly pivot point on 5-minute chart, you will have a great tool for scalping because these pivot points will change each hour. That is why they're called hourly pivot points, because they tend to change every single hour. So those are static pivot points, but those are also dynamic because they change. What is also good for extreme scalpers is a tool, also pivot point, that you can actually change the time frame to 5-minute down to, you see, 1 minute. So for 1-minute scalping, you might like to use 5-minute pivot points. That is good, guys, because back in days when I started to trade, we didn't have indicators like this. What we need to do is actually we used the indicators that were mostly daily pivot points. And that was not that good because, in my opinion, I'm telling you again my opinion, scalping should be done on lower time frames. And it's not good to watch daily pivot points for scalping. Hourly pivot points are much better. And for extreme scalpers who scalp on 1-minute time frame, then pivot points should be usually 5-minute time frame pivot points. And you will not find a lot of these indicators on the market because, I mean, even if they're coded, sometimes they can slow down your platform. So this is lag free, guys. You don't have any slowdowns when you use this. These are perfectly coded indicators. I mean, this is not 100 euros code. This code is much more expensive, and you can get it for free. So you just need to open a live account, and you will actually use all of these tools. Chris will also explain you. But this is what I use frequently when I scalp. I mean, I don't like 1-minute scalping. I'm not a big fan of that. But if I scalp on 5-minute time frame, I will use hourly pivot points. I like to do that way because it's usually the price will respect hourly pivot points. Okay, and also one more tool that I will explain, and then Chris will actually go with his part. This is one of my guys' favorite indicators that you can actually see every day. Okay, here it's called Admiral Mini Chart. So what does it tell me? I can expand it actually to other time frames. We are not simply glued to 1 minute time frame, but it's very good because here you can watch different time frames on your time frame of choice. What I do is I have my Camarilla MACD that you watch every day on like the analysis, and it's usually 1 hour. Unless we want to make some intra-week swing position, then I switch to 4 hour. So if I watch 1 hour, I can watch 4 hour here just for general direction and possible retracements. But here you will frequently see that mini chart is actually on daily time frame, guys. It's on daily. But watch these options. You can actually enjoy multiple options here on chart, time frame, and type. Standard charts, 10-minute charts, 15-minute charts, 8-hour charts. I had a friend from New Zealand who's actually a trader, and when she came and to live here, she was telling me that she really enjoys 8-hour charts. I personally never used 8-hour charts simply because I've been trading with MT4, and most of the time, even when I didn't trade with MT4, I used MT4 for charting. So the thing is, I didn't use 8 charts, 8-hour time frame charts, but she was very stubborn in explaining to me that 8-hour charts can be also very useful. And she was telling me that price respects 8-hour charts very frequently, guys. And here with Admiral Mini Chart, you can actually see how it looks. I mean, 8-hour charts, 8-hour time frame. It's very nice to see. And you can expand the chart, guys. Okay, you can expand the chart. So I mean, watch this. You can actually do whatever you wish, guys. Okay, you can expand it. You can draw it. So it's useful feature. So I still cannot tell you the opinion on 8-hour charts, but I tend to believe my friend because she was also a trader and she was also trading price action. So I think that 8-hour charts you should pay attention to it, and you can tell me how it works. But what I wanted to say is, if I use 1 hour time frame, I will usually have daily time frame overlaid on my main chart here. Okay, this is what I like to see. Okay, daily. I usually don't make a chart this big. I mean, this is way too big for my taste. But what you can do is actually you can always shrink it down, and you can make it smaller. And if you don't like daily, you can actually switch to other time frames. But daily time frame is what you should be paying attention if you watch hourly charts. So you can pay attention to daily, because there is no point, guys, in making the same chart as your time frame of choice is, because you still can see 1 hour time frame. So what's the point of using 1 hour and 1 hour here? So this is what you can use. Also, some traders suggested that we might watch lower time frames on higher time frame charts, and you will know that there are simply no indicators to use in the free market that will allow you to watch lower time frames. Some of the indicators I use are a bit heavy on processor and on PC speed, so they tend to slow down the platform. So what you can also do here, for example, if you don't if you don't want higher time frame charts, you can actually you can make this on lower time frames. So let's say that you have 1 hour chart open, you go to hourly mini chart and you just press let's say 15 minutes, okay? And you see, so now you can see 1 hour as your main time frame and 15 minutes here. And this is very good. I mean, I'm giving you ideas now. For example, exits. If you're long on dollar CAD and you see the dollar CAD is going long, watch lower time frames. For example, open 5-minute time frame and see how it goes. So if you see that 5-minute time frame is going short, okay, maybe it's time for you to, you see, I was right about it. It started to go down. Remember what I told you 15 minutes ago. You see, it started to go down. But let's say that you were long. So what would you do now? I would probably close my longs because on 5-minute time frame I see a shooting star, a double top, and a momentum candle that broke to previous low. So it's enough for me to say, okay, now we will either close my trade, I will either close my trade or protect it, like taking half out or making a profit stop. Guys, this is great. So why don't you use it? This will help you your trading, and this will make your trading decisions much better. So here, this is also a standard tool on my charts. You can use also ticks per bar, units for block size. You can use something different than candles. You can change colors. I mean, it's so customizable, and it's actually very easy on your PC. That is why I like it too, because my PC always have like 20 charts open same time, and I'm scanning through it to find the best trade setup and give you, for example, like pound dollar today. So guys, this was my part. Chris will show you his part. I hope that this will help your trading. I have one question before I deliver the presentation to Chris. Reddy is asking, I had a query about correlation with Europe and UK stocks. If both UK stocks negative, then dollar yen will go down. You need actually to watch for stocks. The only valid stock for me, what I watch in London, is DAX. I don't watch anything except for DAX during London session, okay? So here, if we actually, I will open correlation matrix here, and for intraday, I usually use 200 bars, but let's say DAX and yen, okay? So if you don't see any info, you might wait for information to load, okay? But if you don't find any info, then try to switch through these time frames. Okay, last 50 bars. Okay, it's like last 50 hours on a correlation. So I mean, it's not that valid. But usually, if it's minus 24, usually it should be higher. So you need to wait for the information to show up. For example, in London session ready, I'm always watching DAX. And usually if DAX is going down, dollar yen will go down too. In Tokyo session, pay attention to Nikkei, because Nikkei is very heavily correlated with dollar yen. And SP 500, try to watch it during single US session. All of these should have positive correlation. DAX, Nikkei, and dollar yen. So by juggling through these time frames, you will see which correlation is the strongest. You see now on SP 500 and dollar yen, there is no strong correlation, but still in Nikkei, it has a really, really strong correlation. On last 24 hours, you have, well, it's correlated to dollar yen, not that strong, but here, this index is going, and you see DAX, plus 52. So, yes, if you scalp especially, already this is important for you, because for scalpers, on lower time frames, DAX and yen will move usually in the same direction. So thank you guys. Chris will proceed with his part. I'm already over more time, so let's see one more question. I see that you're very interested in this. Ready, yeah. Ready, watch SP500. Okay, it's SP500 in your session. You can open the chart, but if you watch for correlation, watch correlation between SP500 and yen. You see SP500 and yen are usually strongly correlated. Plus 49 with pound yen, plus 25. Okay, this is not that big, but let's use 100 bars. Okay, 42, you see odd yen, 18. So they will move in the same direction, but not that heavily. Strongest correlation among all these pairs that are correlated with SP500, you see usually indices, because indices move together. You see Nikkei index, it goes in a good correlation. These blue pairs, they're not so heavily correlated, but also pound yen, and negative correlation is with euro dollar. So this might help you with euro dollar decisions. I told you that you should sell euro dollar. I was very clear that euro dollar should be sold on rallies. And if you took session recap trade, you would have been 60 pips in profit now, because euro dollar it dropped like 50 pips, almost 60 pips from our entries. And this is how you can also measure it. SP500 down, see, dollar up, euro dollar down, SP500 net correlation. Of course, very negative dollar index, minus 97. Okay, guys, you're welcome. Chris will continue now. I hope that you enjoyed, and let's make pips next week. Cheers, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Nenad. Great stuff there. Yeah, the euro dollar is falling. Let's take a look at the charts right now. Let me share the screen here first of all. And there we go. So you should be seeing my screen any second now. And we're looking at the euro dollar. And one of the things that I do use frequently nowadays is this mini chart. It's part of the last update of MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition indeed. And I like the multiple time frames. Of course, I can switch to, obviously, but it makes it easier. It also gives, indeed, the time frames that I don't have in MetaTrader 4, like the 8-hour, indeed, and others. So that is a neat little thing, and I like that a lot. So it's one of my favorite features at the moment, in fact. And you can see how you can get a multiple time frame perspective on that a bit easier. Actually, there was a trader I spoke with recently, and I was talking, to that person if they wanted to join. And yeah, they were both very interested in joining Admiral Markets, also because of these extra features. They really liked the package, the software package. But it's not only the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition. I mean, it has 100 features, in fact. But generally speaking, MetaTrader 4, generally speaking, the advantage of that is just that you have a lot of traders using it. So there are a lot of indicators out there. There are a lot of people making coding. There are a lot of custom-made indicators. Of course, there are a ton of indicators just, as the basics ones. Of course, everyone knows indicators here. There are a decent amount here as well. But there are a lot of traders that are making those, and you could, use those, get those, buy those, etc. So yes, MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition has a lot of features, but just generally speaking, there's a huge community out there, and you can benefit from that. So that's basically the advantage, I think, of MetaTrader 4, but also from Admiral Markets. I'm sure there are, other benefits, but that's what I see. Now, looking at for instance, what I like to use, first of all, is this mini chart, the mini terminal. I like the Keltner, personally, and the pivot points. And then I'd already talked about the pivot points, how you can change that pivot points. These are very, very nice pivot points. I like them a lot. I use basically them on the higher time frames, but then I was already referring to lower time frames as well. I like the Keltner. What I do basically is looking for bounces and breakouts. It's a great establishment for the boundary of how far the price can go, and whether it can bounce, for instance. Let me take a look here. You can see here on the hourly chart, for instance, that if price is basically within those levels, it will typically stay between them. But if it then pushes with a candle close below or above it, like here, for instance, then you do see a typical impulse or breakout. So it's great for measuring breakouts and also understanding when breakouts are probably not happening or when we get bounces. Once again, that same zone, if I look at that, let me open my drawing tool actually in the meantime quickly. All right, there we go. Right here, you see price is closing below it. So that is a signal to me that price is basically an impulse and it's breaking through the band. If candlesticks are struggling at the band, then there's a good chance of a bounce and price staying within this band. I really appreciate the support and resistance that it offers on both sides. I'm a big fan of moving averages, but what it doesn't do is show the other side. It basically shows one side. In this case, it's resistance. But how far will price move away from the moving averages? Moving averages are not going to show that unless you zoom into other time frames or use different multiple time frames. On this time frame, we don't see it, right? But the band does give both sides. It gives a very good perspective of how far, what the width is of the average move and bounce and break spots. So this, I actually was recently contacted by a trader about six weeks ago or something, I think. No, wait, it's already 2 months ago. Time flies. Terrible. In August, actually. And she was asking, can you help me make a customized trading plan? So I said, sure, let's do that. And so we set up a schedule and we were talking with each other. And so what I was trying to identify is what does she want? What does she, trying to dive into her trading psychology, what she's tried, what she finds interesting to use. And eventually we came with a mix, and that was, we did it step by step. You don't find the first, let's say the exact match or the formula instantly. It's a bit of a process, and you go back and forth with some things, and eventually we found out that she liked the 21 EMA band and this Keltner. So, and other things, but those were two prominent things in her trading plan. So the 21 EMA close high and low to give kind of that short-term momentum direction, but the Keltner as well connected to it for that support or resistance. So I'm a big fan of that. This is part of the MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition, by the way. So the other things I appreciate, mini terminal, it's just very easy with the lot size calculations, margin calculators. That's always very, very useful regarding making decisions there. Some other things that could save your time, Alarm Manager, let's put that on. All right, seems to be a bit slow. There it is. All right. So yeah, Alarm Manager is supposed to help you with giving you alarms when certain things are happening. And that's always useful as well. I use alarms, well, Ned and I both use alarms. We have it with the systems we trade. There's alarms as well. And that's just very beneficial. It's just very useful to be alerted if something is happening. The MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition has that as well for certain things, as you can see here. And basically price alarms, price levels, price changes, bar breakouts, account values, wins. There are a lot of options here. Time alarms, time of day, calendars, technical indicators. I mean, there are a lot of options. So there's a lot to discover here. I know everyone is short on time, but this is definitely worth it. And you can see a lot of options here. So that is cool. And I think the price levels is especially handy. The bar breakouts and the technicals, MACD for instance. So that's cool. Nanette already talked about a lot of things like the correlation matrix. I heard I maybe missed a few minutes, so if I repeat something, let me know. I don't want you to hear something again, but you got a trading simulator as well. I don't think that I talked about that, but trading simulator basically allows you to go back in the past and then take trades as you go forward again, reliving the past, basically. That is very useful. You got some other things like tick charts. Trade terminals is just a whole list of overview of charts, basically. What else you got? Correlation matrices. I talked about alarm manager. I just talked about. Okay, let's skip. So you see here on the left here a whole. Oh, you don't see it actually. Apologies, it's frozen when I was opening the drawing tool. Apologies for that. You didn't even see the alarm manager. So I always forget to unfreeze it. I'm freezing it to open my drawing tool, and then I forget about it. So sorry. And the funny thing is, I'm telling myself, okay, don't forget this time. But somehow I still do. All right. But price level here, just very quickly, how do you do that? You just basically swipe it over. You click on it, let it go. Then you click on these pluses right here. Once again, click on this plus. This is not the only options here, right? Click on the plus, click on price level, and that's how you do right that. Then you have the options, add action, and save it, all right? Now, not only for price levels, but you have all kinds of things. Let's make it a bit bigger. Here you go. Okay, so price change breakout, time alarms, technical indicators. All right, there you see it. So I'm not going to spend too much time here because I already talked about it, but I wanted to show you visually how to get there. So let's move on. Basically, you're going to see here a lot of indicators those are all indicators that are, some of them are, well, not all, but some of them are custom made. Some of them I have received from traders. Some of them I have purchased. So, it's a whole mix of things. Some of I've basically made myself. Like here, these are ones like, oh, I'm missing that. Maybe it exists somewhere, in the world, but I didn't go looking and hunting for it in all the corners. So I just made it or I let it made myself, and I paid for that. For instance, I like fractals. So what I enjoy here is having a different. That's not the one actually. Sorry, I made one fractal, and you can do that. You can, have that ability to find a coder and do that. All right, we work with a great guy, and he's just very fast, very efficient, good price to be honest, and he has this organized for us very quickly. So this is one of those that we had made, and this is fractals. This gives me more information about fractals when six candles are not broken, basically. Normal fractal, if you go to insert indicators, Bill Williams, and you go to fractals, would have 2. With this fractal, I have 6 candles and 13 candles. So I like that as a fractal number. I think that the Forex fractal is closer to 6 and 13. That's one thing. We had alerts, for instance, coded, but also scripts. If you're interested in a script, just let me know. I can send in an email, and then I'll move on to, these are just very quickly some custom things that we did. Here, this is Fibonacci sequence levels. I love Fibonacci sequence levels. They show me how many pips price has moved away from a top or bottom. All right, and you can see typically there's more momentum after price moves away from the third level. Let me use this right here, this top, and you'll see it a bit better. Here, 1, 2, 3, below the third, right down to the fourth, and then to the fifth. So that Fibonacci sequence levels count the number of pips movement from tops and bottoms. Anyhow, so if you want this, just I can send this for free, and just send me an email. All right, regarding some of The others, you got a spread indicator, so you can keep an eye on the spread a bit easier like this. You got Rankos, for instance. Let's take a look at a different chart now. Dollar yen is really breaking to the upside, folks, and was talking about, or not talking, but showed that in my wave analysis. If price broke above this trend line, look for the breakout to the upside, and that's what's happening. We've been bullish, or I've been bullish at least, for a very long time on this dollar yen. It's finally materializing. We had the break here, we had the break here, and that's looking good. So spread indicator helps you with maybe waiting for the right moment to take the trade. We got Renko too. Let's take a look at that. Right there. That shows you too about pullbacks and continuations. Very neat tool as well regarding looking at price action. You got a magnifier. You got Keltner already high and low. All right, so this magnifier will help you basically wherever you point, it's going to increase the price action so you see it better. So basically you can zoom in. High and low will show you, well, very simply the day, yesterday's high and low, or today's high and low. I think it was yesterday's, but now I'm not sure looking at what I see on the chart. This is not one I use a lot myself, so that's why I don't know, but it could be useful. The highs and lows are very important, so that's cool. You have a free hand drawing tool. Basically, you have also a chart in chart, chart groups, and candle countdowns. That's useful too, especially if you're looking at, for instance, a chart, not like an hourly. Obviously, that's very clear when the hourly chart is finished, but especially if you're looking at a 4-hour chart. Is it still 2 hours or is it like 3 hours? That sometimes requires some calculations. That especially is useful. Now you don't see it at this moment. Apologies for that. That's because you need to change the color. So let me quickly do that. I forgot about doing that. You see it's white. Anytime you need to change something, anytime you don't see something, right click, go to indicators list, and here you see the indicators. You can remove indicators as well or edit them. So let's edit that right away now and find the candle countdown, edit. There you got inputs, colors, visualization, which time frames, basically, which colors do you want to use, inputs you want to change. What we want to change here is not make it white because I have a white background, so I won't see it. We'll make it black. That should make it visible there, and there we go. So we got 6 minutes left in this 4-hour candle. All right, although we're looking at Heikin Ashi at the moment, so let's remove Heikin Ashi there. Let's see. Renko, sorry, not Heikin Ashi, Renko. Yeah, that doesn't change. 6 minutes. So, any questions from this point of view? Do you want to follow up stuff maybe regarding typical indicators you see in MetaTrader 4? I'm a big fan of moving averages. I think Ichimoku is good as well and just as valuable as moving averages. I just appreciate moving averages a tad more, so I use those. Bollinger Bands are good too, but I definitely like Admiral Markets Keltner more. Now, those might seem the same. Roughly speaking, they are, but there is, I think, some important differences, and that has to do with we can put it on. Why not? If we're talking about it here, see, Bollinger Bands contracts a bit quicker. I like how the price is able to break below the Keltner a bit more, I think, than the Bollinger Bands. I guess the difference is small, but I do like the Keltner more. Let me see if I can find a bit of an example here where maybe I can show you that a bit better. You see here, look at this piece here, right here. You see the magnifier goes along. You see that? So it helps you with magnifying it. All right, you get the point. So look at the black one is the Bollinger. So you see the Bollinger totally expands and price is again below it. But with the Keltner here, Admiral Keltner, you see that price stays above it. So you see, it's easier to see the breakout and the continuation of the breakout. With the Bollinger Band, you wouldn't see that clearly. Other indicators that I appreciate: awesome oscillator, MACD, RSI, stochastics. What else? Well, I got a lot of custom-made ones, but I won't dive into that. I think those probably are my top ones. I think parabolic is a very interesting one, though. I appreciate that too. I don't really use it myself, but I can see why traders like that. I think the ATR is very interesting. Yeah, I'm not using those. There's too many indicators to use. So, but I'm just saying the ones that I think that are good and make sense. Average true range, directional indicator, alligator. All right, so you got some obviously fibs. So that's channels and trend lines. Yeah, so regarding the dollar yen, how far could that go? Might as well take a quick look. I said what I wanted to say about the software, so let's use these few minutes still and take a look at the markets, what's going on. So yeah, basically, I think, depending on how today's daily candle looks like, if it looks anything like this, well, that I think is a pretty good momentum bar, and I think that there could be some continuation next week. I'm not sure about tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. That tomorrow could be a doji. It could just be a small retracement. But if tomorrow is not a massive bearish day, I think next week looks pretty good, because in the meantime, this weekly candle looks just pretty decent. Not huge, but decent size. Looks like a continuation of the breakout this week again. We had, last week a bit of consolidation, but looks like we're, not we, but the dollar yen is continuing. Now 105, 105.50 is an interesting resistance zone. So I would like to see how price really handles itself here. But if it's anything, if today's candle is like this, then I do think there's a good chance that that resistance zone is not going to stop price. So yeah, let's see how far this bullishness can last. I've been bullish already earlier. This was a 50 bounce, 50 fib bounce, so I was already bullish from about here, basically at the hook back. That took quite long, because here was a test and here was a retest. So it took a bit long, but finally the break here of the daily resistance, the triangle, and now we're getting the break, and we're getting the break of the break. So let's see how far this could push. From a weekly chart, we got a lot of space, I think. We have basically, let me get rid of this Bollinger Band quickly. You can see how quickly a chart gets overcrowded, doesn't it? If you just add some one or two. And often enough, it's okay if you look at it yourself, but if you're looking at someone else's chart, it can quickly balloon into something annoying. Regarding the weekly upside, I think that one of the reasons why this could be a bit of a stall moment is just the 23.6 fib, 105 resistance, psychological level. But once the dollar yen breaks above that, I think that space up to 109, 38, 2 fib, 110 round level, but then the 50 at 112, close to 112.50. So we could be working up towards these fibs, and it could be a decent bounce. I would expect at least to the 50. Doesn't have to be in one shot, though, of course. Next week could be like this. Then the week after, retracement. The week after could be up again. We might get 2 weeks retracement. Then we get, again, a few weeks up. Spaces like this are weekly charts, so it takes time for a weekly chart to make its move. But especially, of course, if we look at the political event around the corner, which is the U.S. elections. About 12 days from now, we have the presidential elections in the U.S. And at the moment, of course, there are a lot of candidates, but the two ones that are doing best in the polls, Republicans and Democratic candidates. Republicans, Trump. Candidate for the Democrats is Clinton. And Nannette and I are going to be talking a lot about that, or writing a lot about that, and talking about that as well in the next 2 weeks. We got probably Sunday a pretty sizable blog article for you. Take a look. I mean, it's It's quite hefty. It looks at a lot of angles. I don't want to scare you, but you know, it has a lot of things that we discuss. So take a look, and or if you want, please take a look and, you know, review the parts that you might find interesting. We also have webinars on that, and you can find that by going to, as you know, admiralmarkets.com. We got at this moment we have 2 webinars scheduled. That we might change the scheduling still. We're talking about it. For the moment though, Tuesday, November 8th, we got a webinar on this topic, and 1 week later, Tuesday the 15th. Tuesday the 8th, we're looking, we know what's going to happen during the election day itself, and what we can expect with the markets, what we're expecting at least, roughly speaking, what could happen with the markets during these elections, after these elections. So that's coming up on that Tuesday. We might change the date still, but if you sign up, you will get a notice about any changes. So that is all we're going to be talking about this event. Now, if you're interested in indicators, just write me an email. If you're interested in Zero to Hero, you can find that on the website. Just click on more info. And if you're interested in MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition, just click here. If you're interested in MetaTrader, write like this. If you're interested in MetaTrader 4 WebTrader, by the way, that's a cool thing because you can use it on your mobile. You don't have to download anything, so it's a bit more flexible. And the cool thing about that, I didn't mention it that so far, it was on my list, is that you can use and add wave analysis. You got your typical charting stuff like bar charts, candlesticks, obviously. You got indicators here. One of those, though, that I particularly find interesting is Elliott motive and corrective wave. So what you can do, click on it, you go insert, click on Elliott wave, and then you click here. Okay, if you think this is a wave 1, you click here. If you think this is a wave 2, you click here. If you think it's a wave 3, click here. 4, 5. All right, so you got an idea. You can do like this. If you say, oh, I made a mistake, you can easily change that. All right, it's actually this, not what I had originally. And that certainly does look a bit neater. So you can change it that way. So that's pretty cool. Makes it a lot easier to do Elliott wave analysis. So if you do like Elliott wave analysis, and you know, it might be easier to do the wave analysis on WebTrader, WebTrader, and other things maybe on the usual platform. You got corrective waves too. All right, so somehow, 1 second, let me try it again. Corrective wave, there you go. And you can connect them like this as well. Don't look at this, I made some mistake here, but basically you can add corrective and impulse waves, and then like this, you can move it here. This is the C, this is the B. It's all intertwined now, but there you go, ABC. Like this. So you can move it like that. Let me get rid of this one now for a second. I added the wrong one here. Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. I tend to double click with left, but you need to click with right and not on left. Otherwise, it opens the editing box instead of deleting it. So just click on right and delete. All right. So that's a cool thing about WebTrader, the Elliott wave. But I mean, you could do a lot of analysis here too, just as is. So it's good for on the road. It's good for maybe other, let's say, devices than the PC. So check it out. I hope to see you in the webinars next week. We got a full schedule again, and wish you all great trading. Cheers.